Welcome back. Well, today, New South Wales Premier Chris Minns announced that he'd extend the life of Eraring coal-fired power station until at least 2027 at a cost of $225 million a year. Let's bring in our political panel tonight, National Senator Matt Canavan and Sky News commentator Jason Morrison. Welcome to you both.
Hey, Sean.
Matt, look, for a long time, we've been discussing on this program. I've had Matt Kean, the former Energy Minister and Treasurer, on the show arguing that if you got rid of Eraring, there just wouldn't be enough power supply to keep the lights on in New South Wales. The maths just didn't add up. It's quite incredible that it's taken a Labor government to say, yeah, look, we need this energy source.
Well, look, I'm just glad common sense has prevailed, Sharri. There's no doubt that the energy plan that Matt Kean presided over is an utter failure. Our problem is that his close partner in crime, Chris Bowen, is now in charge federally, and Chris is doing federally what Matt did to New South Wales over a number of years. So we're not out of the woods yet, but this arrangement's going to potentially cost taxpayers up to just over $500 million for just 2 years. Just 2 years, over $500 million. I mean, the question's got to be asked here, at what point do we just bite the bullet and build a new coal-fired power station? They last for 50 years. It would only be at a cost of a few billion. So you'd make that back. If it's costing us $200-300 million a year for just one power station, we'd make our money back in less than a decade if we just built another one. And why don't we just do that? We should have done that years ago, but as the old Chinese saying goes, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So let's get it done.
Look, Jason Morrison, I remember so clearly during the state election campaign, and Chris Minns was on air with Ben Fordham, and Ben said, are you considering extending the life? And Chris said he was. And I wondered at the time whether this is just, a promise that a leader makes in the run-up to an election. But the fact that he's done it today is saying something about just how desperate and how dire the energy supply is in New South Wales, such
in critical condition. And the report the other day largely confirmed that. I mean, here we have, the collision, if you want, of ideology versus reality. And the collision is we ain't going to have enough power. And Matt's right. I mean, if we are to really approach this from an economic rationalist perspective, the obvious outcome is coal is cheap right now. Coal is very cheap. Coal's 2021 prices again. All this talk about it being really expensive because of Ukraine, that's history. And we have this sort of blind walk into the jungle and hope and pray that the wind's there and the sun shines and that the solar panels supply what we need. It just simply won't work. What we're seeing, I guess, hopefully out of this is the first step of the premiers starting to actually come to the realisation that it's all well and good to talk the Matt Kean, Chris Bowen kind of chitter-chat, but the bottom line is we need reliable base power, and the only reliable base power we have at the moment, right now, including at this very instant that we're on air, is coal. Coal's doing 60-70%, depending on where you are in the country, even 80 in New South Wales percent of the heavy lifting right now. We wouldn't be on without it. Perhaps some people would like that, but that's just a reality.
All right. And look, as you mentioned, the Australian Energy Market Operator warned just this week that New South Wales and Victoria are facing blackouts this summer. So maybe it takes blackouts for people to realise that, the energy mix we've got at the moment isn't going to last. Now, the Nightly is reporting, this is an exclusive by Mark Riley, that the Australian Border Force has actually set fire to dozens of illegal fishing boats. They say that they've seized almost 200 boats and almost 1,000 fishermen and women have been apprehended. This is quite an extraordinary story by Mark Riley, and he's reporting that this was going to be the biggest assault on our territorial waters in almost 2 decades. Matt Canavan, have you ever heard of Australian Border Force doing this before, setting fire to dozens of illegal Indonesian fishing boats that might have come to Australia?
Well, I haven't, Sharri. I don't sit on the particular estimates committees, Senate committees that look into this stuff. So maybe this is not unusual, but it's pretty shocking, and I don't know. I've only just heard this news, so I'm not sure if it's
just
to do
breaking
with
now.
people smuggling or illegal fishing activities. Yeah, so I mean, you can go on a marine app. You can go on these apps that look at where boats are, just like the plane tracking apps that most people probably have used. But you can go on a boat tracking app and just go outside of international Australian waters into Papua New Guinean waters, out to the Pacific Ocean, and there are swarms of boats sitting there. Most of them Chinese flagged, just fishing in these areas, and obviously many of them probably do cross into Australian waters at times and do fish illegally. And it's just so ridiculous that we regulate our fishing industry to such an extent that we have to import more than 70% of our seafood. Yet just over the line, the ocean has just fished to all ends. So it says a lot about our own regulation and how we rely so much on imports and think we pat ourselves on the back, think we're doing something for the environment when the opposite's true.
Jason, what do you think about this story by Mark Riley? And you know, have you ever seen this before? I've never seen it before, setting fire, Australian government, to dozens of illegal fishing boats.
Well, given Mark Riley's got it, I dare say there must be video footage of it as well, being Channel 7's political editor. So if that's the case, good on him. I mean, you know, you want to send a message back to Indonesia and back to other nations that want to do this. This is what happens when you head out. I mean, these are, you know, organised criminal syndicates that are out there doing it. They might not consider themselves that. And in fact, there's some dimwits in Australia who think they're humanitarian, you know, assistance programs. But this is a real problem for this country, and it's a real problem we have to tackle head on. And if it means getting the people off, arresting them, taking them to wherever they're going to be taken and setting the bones alight and filming them, do it and stick it out online and let the world see it, that Australia is serious about protecting its borders.